Reich have made.
And joining us now is Army National Guard Captain Rose Forrest, an Iraq War veteran and senior advisor to VoteVets.org. Rose, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you just heard the president there talking about this milestone. What's your reaction to that?
Well, whether it's 4,000 or 3,999 or 4,001, it really, you don't wake up and feel differently. And I think that it's sad that as Americans we're not feeling every day what the war is doing to our country, and that we're just looking for these milestones. Last week it was that it was the 5th year. Before that, it was quite a while until we really heard about, what's going on with the Iraq war.
Now, the president still argues that his new strategy is working and points to his own set of numbers. Attacks are down 60% since the surge, and the military is now detaining 50 to 60 Iraqis a day compared with 20 and 30 a year ago. Are we as close to winning this thing as the president keeps telling us?
We can't look at the numbers to decide if we're winning. The last 2 weeks have been some of the bloodiest since September of 2007. We have to look at how the Iraqi people are doing.
Now, before the war started, the president's own economic advisor estimated the cost of the war to be $100 to $200 billion. Recent estimates are now between $1 trillion, possibly more than $3 trillion. With gas at $3 a gallon, do you think support for a true pullout will increase when more Americans feel the pinch in their pocketbooks?
I think it will. Less than 1% of Americans serving in the armed forces. I don't think that every day everybody feels what it's like, what's going on in Iraq. I think once people start paying $4 a gallon of gas, or they can't afford to send their kids to college, and we start their houses being foreclosed upon, they might really appreciate the economic impact the Iraq war has had on America.
Now, General David Petraeus and Ambassador Ryan Crocker are due to testify on Capitol Hill. They're expected to recommend no additional troop reductions in Iraq beyond those that are already scheduled. What's the toll been on our military? Can our armed forces sustain these current levels for another 6 years?
Karen, I can't speak on behalf of the DOD, but, as National Guardsman who served, and I know the impact that it had on myself and my family, my civilian career, my civilian education. We're asking a lot of our armed forces and their families, too, to keep supporting this war.
Now, we hear a lot of talk about supporting our troops, but a company called Sioux Manufacturing provided troops with 2.2 million defective helmets. Unfortunately, this is not the only story like this. When you hear about defective equipment sent out to the field, what's your reaction?
Well, I'm going to start by saying that while I was in Iraq, I did have confidence in the equipment that I had. Our armored Humvees, our flak vests, our Kevlars, I thought were all very high quality. But when I hear things like that, I am concerned. I'm concerned that we're looking to cut corners. And when it comes to troop safety, that's not where we can cut corners.
Do you think that we're paying enough attention to the war in Iraq right now? On the campaign trail, it started out as the #1 issue. Now the economy has kind of swept that over. Are we paying enough attention to it in the media, in the public? What do you think?
When I first got home from Iraq, there was about 6 or 7 months where I didn't want to watch TV. I didn't want to read the newspaper because I didn't want to hear about Iraq. I wanted to kind of forget about it for a while. But then when I was settled in and I wanted to see how things were going, how the Al-Anbar province where I had left was faring, it was really hard to find good in-depth news coverage. I've read something like 5% of media coverage revolves around the Iraq war, and I think that that's sad. This is the most important thing we have facing our nation, yet so little of it is covered in the news.
Walter Reed was definitely a wake-up call that America needed, and huge strides have been made, but have we come far enough? What else needs to be done?
I think the priority needs to be taking care of our veterans now. They've served bravely in Iraq and Afghanistan, and we have to do whatever it takes to take care of them.
All right, Rose Forrest, for more information on VoteVets, our viewers can go to VoteVets.org. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks.
And this sad milestone is being